Pramana viparya vikalpa nidra smriteha. By intelligence, only one can understand things as they are. By intelligence, only can one understand whether or not he is the body. The study to determine whether one's identity is spiritual or material begins in doubt. When one is able to analyze his actual position, the false identification with the body is detected. This is viparyasa. When false identification is detected, then real identification can be understood. Real understanding is described here as nishaya or proved experimental knowledge. This experimental knowledge can be achieved when one has understood the false knowledge. By experimental or proved knowledge, one can understand that he is not the body but is spiritual. Smriti means memory and swapa means sleep. Sleep is also necessary to keep the intelligence in working order. If there is no sleep, the brain cannot work nicely. In Bhagavad Gita, it is especially mentioned that persons who regulate eating, sleeping, and other necessities of the body in the proper proportion become very successful in the yoga process. These are some of the aspects of analytical study of intelligence as described in both the Patanjali Yoga system and the Sankhya philosophy system of Kapil Deva in Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Pashat Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhaivacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktarvinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna. So it's my great pleasure to be here at ISKCON Sydney. I come generally this time of the year, every year. I came Sydney a couple of days before, but could not come to temple for some program. So we are discussing from 3rd canto, 26th chapter. Lord Kapil Dev is instructing his mother Devavati. This is one of the important sections of Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada, compiled separate book on these instructions of Lord Kapil Deva, Devavati Nandan Kapil's teachings. And from 3rd canto, almost 10 chapters are dedicated to Lord Kapil Dev's instruction to his mother. So this is very important, especially in the devotee family. Anyone can receive instruction from anyone. Srila Prabhupada once, His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj's mother came to meet Srila Prabhupada. So after first meeting, Prabhupada told Maharaj that you should teach your mother like Kapil Dev did to Devavati. And then after many years, Maharaj says, I wanted to teach my mother like, the Lord Kapil Deva did. But unfortunately, my mother was not that much faithful like Devavati. So this is very wonderful how Lord Kapil Dev systematically guiding Mother Devavati. So in this particular verse, he is saying doubt, misapprehension, correct apprehension, memory and sleep. These are the 4 characteristics of intelligence. So doubt, this is sandhya or sunshine, misapprehension or correct apprehension, the correct understanding and wrong understanding about ourselves, our identity. 3, and then memory and sleep, the smriti and nidra. These 5, these 4 actually you can say. So in total actually 5. So Prabhupada explained the first paragraph of the purport, that is doubt. Prabhupada says doubt is sometimes good, it's not bad. In order to cultivate knowledge, one should be doubtful in the beginning. Otherwise we can't learn any kind of knowledge. For example, in Krishna Lila we find Krishna was doubtful when Nanda Maharaj was worshipping Indra. So when Krishna came back, so Krishna was doubtful. He asked Nanda Maharaj, why are you worshipping Indra? Is it because, your forefathers, they were practicing this? Or you are doing just for the sake of worshipping Indra? Or you are just doing for some material benefits? So Krishna was doubtful. It was good. Sometimes doubt is good. So it's kind of a healthy doubt, a right doubt and wrong doubt. So therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says there are two types of doubts actually. The one type of doubt comes from sinful activity and attachment to sinful activity. That is first kind of doubt. The other type of doubt comes from intelligence, because we are investigating something. We want to know the cause behind it. So that is healthy doubt. But doubt arises from sinful activity and attachment to sinful activity. That is wrong. That is second type of doubts. So therefore, Kapil Dev, he explained further in this chapter. This doubt, is kind of one of the characteristics of intelligence. The first one actually, when it arises in our mind due to sinful activities or attachment to sinful activities. So our Acharya says that Vaishnavas especially, and instead of thinking about our doubts, we should think about my faults and how can I improve in spiritual life. Then that first category of doubt will go away. But Prabhupada says actually in the purport, he says, but doubting is not very favorable when information is received from the proper source. So first category of doubt is okay. Like we have the example of Krishna doubted Nanda Maharaj is worshipping Indra. But when you receive information from proper source, the bona fide spiritual master and the scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, other scriptures, we should not be doubtful. Then Prabhupada says, that will cause of our destruction. Like Prabhupada used to give this example many times in Brahma Samhita. Like Brahma says, Krishna is our father, so we have to accept Krishna is our father. So Vedas are like our mother. So whatever mother says, we have to accept. Whichever mother says is your father, we have to accept that he is our father. So we should not be doubtful about Vedas scriptures. Prabhupada gave many examples, like in cow dung. Prabhupada says cow dung is pure according to Vedic scriptures. But people, especially when Britishers came to India, they say, it's not good. But then Prabhupada said, a few of his godbrothers in Gaudiya Math, they went to a laboratory. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur told them. And they tested. They found it has antiseptic qualities. Cow dung and cow urine. So Prabhupada says either you have to be doubtful in Vedas or Vedic literatures, or you have to accept it as it is. If you don't accept, then it will be wastage of time. You have to go to laboratory and check everything. Like conch shell. Conch shell, the sound vibration of conch shell can purify the environment. Now if you want to go through the laboratory scientific process, it will be wastage of time. If you simply believe it, then it's true. Like moon landing, Prabhupada says it's not possible. Even some devotees, they were arguing with Srila Prabhupada. How come Prabhu you say moon landing is not possible? Prabhupada says because in our scripture says, with this body we can't go to another planet. It's impossible. Unless you give up this body, you can't elevate to another planet. But he says, you see Srila Prabhupada in television, we can see the live broadcast. Prabhupada, impossible. Prabhupada, without looking to the television, Prabhupada says impossible. And he left Srila Prabhupada. But Prabhupada was never doubtful. So that is called firm faith in the scriptures and the words of Guru. But we can have doubt, to understand something if we want to really, want to know something. So Prabhupada quoted this verse in Bhagavad Gita. The Lord says, doubting the words of the authority is the cause of destruction. This is from 4.40. So Krishna, in 4th chapter, Krishna spoke about Jnana Yoga. At the end of 3rd chapter, Krishna spoke, Kama, lusty desires. How one can conquer the lusty desire. Then he spoke about Jnana Yoga. Sun God and other things, Janma Kanma Chabin Dibbam. So at the end, Krishna says, even before that, before this verse, this doubting the words of a spiritual master, he says this, the qualification of a disciple, submissive and inquiry from the spiritual master. So after that, he says, Aggasya Ashraddha Danasya Sanshaya Atma Vinashyati. This verse, so Prabhupada is quoting this. So on that verse, Krishna spoke about 3 types of people: Agya, Ashraddhana, and Sanshayatma. So here in this verse is the Sanshayatma. So Agya means those who are foolish, and Ashraddhana and Sanshayatma. So Agga, Ashradadhana and Sanshayatma. Ashradadhana means faithless. Agga means foolish. And Sanshayatma means doubters. Again, this verse Kapil Dev is speaking. Now, what is the difference between Agga, Ashradhana and Sanshayatma? The doubters. Full, faithless and doubters. So, Krishna spoke about three, Say, for example, we can give one example. That Krishna is lifting Govardhan hill. Now, Agga, Prabhupada says, Agga means, Agga means like animal. Animal, they will not have any interaction. They don't have anything to do with this, Krishna is lifting Govardhan, nothing, But Ashradhana means faithless. So faithless, Ashradhana means he has knowledge of Shastra. Knowledge of Shastra, but Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says, but having seen the mutual disagreements of various theories of Shastra, he loses trust of Shastra. That is called Ashradhana. So he has knowledge but no faith that these philosophy is right or wrong. That is Ashradhana. But then doubters, the Samshay Atma in this verse, Kapil Dev is speaking. Doubters means, they have some faith, but they doubt that following scriptures will truly award the real result or not. That is called doubters. They are called Samsay Atma, and according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So, like Arjun, we find at the end of Bhagavad Gita, in the beginning, he was doubtful whether I should fight or not. And he gave 5 reasons to Krishna that why I should not fight. But at the end of Bhagavad Gita, after listening from Krishna, what he says? Nashta moha smritir labdha tat prasadat mayachyuta sthita asmi gata sandhya karishya vachanam dava. So exactly same what he says. Nashta moha smritir labdha. This verse is speaking about smriti also. So my dear Lord, by your grace, all my doubts has been eradicated. So Arjun, initially he was doubtful, and Prabhupada spoke in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, he says, is association, cooperation and participation. So association of devotees or Supreme Lord or spiritual master does not mean only association. His association means cooperation also. So Arjun, in the beginning, he was associating with Krishna but not cooperating with Krishna. Because he had doubt in his mind. So many a times we associate with the spiritual master, Krishna, or devotees, but we may associate with them, but since we have doubt in their words, we don't have firm faith, therefore we don't cooperate with them. So when Arjuna received knowledge from Krishna, his doubts eradicated, then he started to cooperate. Karishya Vachanam Dava. My dear Lord, I am ready to do whatever you ask me. But in the beginning, even after Krishna telling, he was arguing. No, Krishna, your name is Madhusudana, you never killed your any friend, you are asking me to kill my spiritual master, how is possible? So, because he had doubt in his mind. So, when doubt eradicates, then only we can cooperate with spiritual master and devotees and Krishna. Otherwise, it's very difficult. So, association, cooperation, combinedly is perfect association actually. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he Krishna, the demons killed by Krishna in Vrindavan, Agasur, Bakasur, Trinavarta, any other asurs. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, on his, in his book Krishna Karnamrita, he gave purport. Each demons killed by Krishna, they represents different types of anarthas, different demons. So while explaining about Trinavarta, Trinavarta came and took away Krishna. So he says Trinavarta represents false pride arising from material scholarship, which gives rise to doubts and bogus philosophies. So doubts we have about Krishna, about spirituality, about anything that comes from, he says, material scholarship. Therefore, Kunti Maharaj says, Janma Ishware Shruta Shibhi Adaman Adamadapuman Naivar Arhatya Abhidhatum by Tam Akinchana Gocharaha. So those who are falsely proud about the material scholarship, they will never surrender unto Krishna. It becomes very difficult for them to surrender unto Krishna, because they have lots of doubts in their mind. Like Prabhupada once explaining that when Jarasandha and Kalayavan, they attacked Krishna. So Krishna had 17 times Krishna fought him, defeated him. But again and again he was attacking Krishna. So finally what Krishna did, in order to protect the residents of Mathura, what Krishna jumped from the peak of a mountain with Balaram. They went to Dwaraka, they crossed the ocean, they built a new house in Dwaraka. So Prabhupada explaining, he says, that mountain from which Krishna and Balaram jumped, that was 80,000 mile height. The height of the mountain was 80,000 miles. Someone says, Swamiji, where is that mountain? We can't see any mountain 80,000 miles height. Prabhupada was angry. Prabhupada, this mountain is there, but you can't see because you are doubtful. So it's there, but you can't see it, So, but, it's there in scripture. We have to believe it, that without any doubt. So, Srila Prabhupada was, when Srila Prabhupada was Grihastha, before taking initiation, his name was Abhay Babu. So, Prabhupada used to visit Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur in Calcutta, Gaudiya Math, many times. But he was extremely dear to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur at that time also, before taking initiation. So, even he would write poems and articles and he would show Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur even once said, whatever Abhay Babu write, just publish in our magazine without any doubt. Because he is a perfect scholar. So one day Prabhupada went to meet Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. He would leave the office stair. That actually old Gaudiya Math now is taken by ISKCON. The ISKCON temple is there. If you go to Mayapur, you visit Old Tadanga. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur used to live on the office stair. So Prabhupada went after meeting Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. The ground floor, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's senior disciples, sannyasis, brahmacharis, they used to live. So Prabhupada, Abhay Babu, he went to washroom. So when Prabhupada went to washroom, when he came out from washroom, he opened the door, he saw a snake in front of the washroom door. And Prabhupada was shocked. How can he come out from the washroom? Now Prabhupada shouted, help me, there is a snake. Now all the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, they came out from their room. Abhay Babu is in danger. We have to save him. Now they are doubtful what to do. Should we kill the snake? Because as devotees, saintly people, we should not kill the snake. We should be equal to all the living entities. They are having shastric arguments. Now Abhay Babu in front of Abhay Babu snake. So now when they were discussing with each other, Srila Prabhupada, he could not come out from the washroom. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he heard that something is happening. Ground floor, he came down. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur from the stairs, he says, what's happening? He says, disciple says, Guru Maharaj, Abhay Babu went to bathroom, but there is one snake in front of the bathroom. He can't come out. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur says, why are you waiting? Bring a stick, kill this snake immediately, save Abhay Babu. So although Srila Prabhupada was saved from that snake, but Prabhupada told this story. He says, I was doubtful in my mind. Because in my mind, I thought Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he is a very gentle person. He is merciful to everyone, but he just told everyone just to kill the snake. So Srila Prabhupada says, I had this doubt in my mind for many, many years. Why my Guru Maharaj told to kill the snake? And then Prabhupada says, after many years, when I was reading Prahlad Maharaj's prayers to Lord Nrsingadev. So when Lord Nrsingadev, after killing Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsingadev was still angry. And Prahlad Maharaj, Lord Shiva, Brahma, Lakshmi, everyone failed to pacify Lord Nrsingadev's anger. They sent Prahlad Maharaj. So first prayer Prahlad Maharaj told Nrsingadev, what was that? He says, Modeta sadhur ope brashika sarpa hatya. My dear Lord Nrsingadev, you should be happy. He says, sometime Modeta sadhur api brashika sarpa hatya. Brashika means scorpion. And sarpa means snakes. Modeta sadhur. Sometimes saintly people, they takes pleasure when they see these, envious animals like a scorpion and snakes dies. So my father was more envious than snakes and a scorpion. You should be happy. Why you are still angry? So when Prabhupada, he, read this, shloka, Modeta sadhur api brishika sarpata. Sometimes saintly people also, they takes pleasure by killing of snakes and scorpion. So happy. He says, my Guru Maharaj, even he instruct to kill snake by the instruction of scripture. So he says that after many years, my doubts gone. Because whatever my Guru Maharaj does, everything is based on scriptures. So therefore, one shouldn't. Even I remember my Guru Maharaj used to tell, when he met, he took initiation, he went to meet Srila Prabhupada after initiation to give Guru Dakshina. He saw Srila Prabhupada was counting money, whatever he got in Guru Dakshina. Like, in 100 rupees bundle, 200 rupees, 500 rupees. And he was little doubtful. He's a saintly person. Srila Prabhupada, he's counting money and taking different, But he says, after that I gave up that in doubt. from my mind. Because whatever Srila Prabhupada does, he is for Krishna. He is not using a single penny for his sense gratification. He is using everything in the service of Krishna. So therefore he said, immediately I gave up the doubt from my mind. So therefore, one shouldn't have doubt. There are many instances, like Srila Prabhupada spoke in Adi Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says, Mahaprabhu, all the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he never had any doubt. But yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to tell, whenever he had a doubt, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would always refer to his Guru, Ishwarpuri. Especially about his chanting and dancing. Many people, they would raise this question, you are sannyasi, why are you chanting and dancing always? You should focus on study Vedic scriptures. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would reply only one thing, Guru more murkha dekhi karila shasan. My spiritual master found me in full number one. Therefore, he told me just to chant and dance. I don't have any qualification to read scriptures. So Prabhupada told in the purport, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whenever he had a doubt, he would refer to his Guru, spiritual master. So there is a beautiful poem in Kalyan Kalpaturu, book written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he said, why doubt comes in our mind? This poem is very wonderful. He says, Manare tumi bada sandhigda antar. Sandhigda means doubtful. He says, my dear mind, you are most suspicious and doubtful at heart. And he says, having come into this material world and becoming conditioned within the prison cell of this dull material body, you have become, by being attached continuously to temporary material objects. So at the end, he says, how can we, get rid of doubts? So last paragraph, he says, Vaishravera kripa vale sandeha jaive chhale tumi puna haive tumar pabe Vrindavan dham sevive Shri Radha Shyam pulakashru moi kalevar. Very beautiful, he says. He says, I have lot of doubts in my mind, but Vaishravera kripa vale sandeha jaive chhale. By the power of Vaishnava's compassion, by the mercy of Vaishnavas, all of my doubts will be, go away. And he says, your soul will become yours once again. You will attain the transcendental abode of Vrindavan. My dear mind, there you will wait upon Radha Shyam in your eternal spiritual body. So, once, all the doubts go away, then only we can enter into Vrindavan, then only actually we can serve Radha Shyam. And that is possible only by the mercy of Vaishnavas, So, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he was commenting about Trinavaratasur, he said, all these, demons killed by Krishna in Vrindavan, they represent different anarthas. Krishna, what Krishna did? Krishna actually kicked them out of Vrindavan. So he wrote, it's called Braj Bhajan. Braj Bhajan means, if you want to perform your bhajan in Vrindavan. So he said, who can reside in Vrindavan? So you have to just study all these demons killed by Krishna. They are anarthas. You have to get rid of all those anarthas. Then only you can enter into Vrindavan. So those demons, they went to Vrindavan with anarthas and Krishna kicked them out. Krishna said, you are not qualified to stay in Vrindavan. So Trinavarta, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Trinavarta was representing doubts. Therefore Krishna kicked him out. Now if you have doubt, you can't stay in Vrindavan. You have to found faith in Krishna, Like, we have this, one beautiful example in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first time. That is Gadadhar Pandit. So Gadadhar Pandit, once, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's childhood friend, Mukunda. Mukunda was very close associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Mukunda told Gadadhar, I will show you a wonderful Vaishnav today. You never met him. He is such a great, extraordinary, a very exalted Vaishnav. You will be very happy to meet him. It's a long episode. So that Vaishnav was whom? Anyone knows? Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So Mukunda told him, Gadadhar was very scholarly person, He used to narrate Srimad Bhagavatam to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every day. So he was very happy that today I am going to meet one great devotee, that is Pundarik Vidyanidhi. But when he went to meet Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and Pundarik Vidyanidhi also, he was very happy to see Gadadhar Pandit, and then Mukunda introduced Gadadhar Pandit to Pundarik Vidyanidhi. But when Gadadhar Pandit, in his mind, he thought Pundarik Vidyanidhi will be very detached, renounced person, such exalted devotees. But when he saw Pundarik Vidyan, he seemed to be a glorious prince. And he sat on a splendid, red chair, Singhasan. And, it's kind of the chair, the Singhasan, was beautifully decorated with fine clothes. And, he saw, every moment, and after a few moments, two men comes and they were fanning Pundarik Vidyanidhi. He was, like a royal prince. He was sitting on his throne. So, anyway, so Gadadhar Pandit was, uh, doubtful. Also, he didn't see any Vaishnava tilak on his forehead. So he became even more doubtful. What type of Vaishnava? You are Mukunda, you told you will show me exalted Vaishnava. He doesn't look like exalted Vaishnava, So then, then Mukunda understood. Vaishnava Kriya Mudra Vigyana Bhujai. Even the greatest, intellectual people, they can't understand the activities and action of a Vaishnava. So then Mukunda, he started to narrate the Krishna Lila from Srimad Bhagavatam. Aho Bakiyam Stana Kalakutam Leve Gatim Dhatrim Uchitam Tatanyat Kangbadealu Sharanam Brajema. How Krishna treated Putana as his mother. Although Putana came to kill Krishna with the intention, but Krishna treated Putana as his mother. So who can be more merciful than this Krishna? Kangba Dayalu Sharanam Brajema, Shukdev Goswami is saying. And upon hearing this verse, and one more Barha Peda. So Krishna's, garments, Krishna's, physical, descriptions. So after hearing these two verses, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he began to weep. He started to cry. And all this ecstatic symptom manifested in his body. And he was dancing like anything, and he was shouting, Mukunda, tell me more about Krishna's first time. So then, then this, Gadadhar Pandit, he understood that, I was doubtful about Pundarik Vidyanidhi's character, but he is such a great devotee, Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So then he begged forgiveness and he took shelter of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. He took initiation from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So Pundarik Vidyanidhi, in the previous Leela, he was Vrishabhanu Maharaj and Gadadhar Pandit, Radharani. So he's kind of father and daughter, So this time, he became, disciples. But another, Pundarik Vidyanidhi again, he became doubtful. This first time when he went to Jagannath Puri to see Lord Jagannath, and he became doubtful when he saw this, the pandas, the pujaris of Lord Jagannath, they were offering this, what is called, a starch cloth to Lord Jagannath. He became doubtful. He says, you should offer fresh cloth to you, Lord Jagannath, and you are offering this in a starch cloth. A starch cloth? Yeah. So ideally is considered to be contaminated cloth. Like when you purchase some cloth from market, it is full of starch. So one should wash it and then only one wear it. So you are offering this, it's not good. You should offer the fresh and washed cloth to Lord Jagannath. So that night, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he was sleeping. He came back to his room, and Lord Jagannath and Balaram, they came at night. How dare are you giving instruction to my servants? And they slapped him tightly, Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And morning when he got up, his both the mouths kind of full of hands, finger marked. And he became reddish, and everyone was shocked. Pundarik Vidyanidhi, what happened? He says, I also didn't realize. Midnight, two gigantic guys came, Krishna and Balaram, they slapped me like anything because I was doubtful about his service. But everyone's saying, you are so fortunate, Krishna Balaram, who can get the slap of Krishna Balaram? You are extremely fortunate, because you are eternal associate of Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore, one should not be doubtful. Otherwise, if we are doubtful, we can't get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It says, Bhajo Bhajo Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudrida Vishwasakari. And it says, so it says Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, we should worship only one condition. We should have firm faith without any doubt. Then we will get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Like, it says, Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kai Sudrida Nishay Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kritahai. So we should never have doubt in this process of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, we have doubt in our mind, this process is not working with me, chanting is not working, hearing or association of devotees. It's may not working with me, but it worked with many previous acharyas. So you should never have doubt on this process. This process works. Definitely works. Otherwise, these Goswamis, the great acharyas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associate, they would have, leave this process. So this process works, but we are not following properly. That's why it's not working with us. Therefore, we should never have doubt. So it says Shraddha Shabda Vishwas Kai Sudhrada Nishay. The what is Vishwas? The faith, firm faith means Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hai. If I perform Krishna Bhakti, everything will be done. That faith we should have. Like this devotee Tapan Mishra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was leading, he was teaching in Gurukul. He went to a tour with his Gurukul students once. So he met one person, Tapan Mishra. Tapan Mishra actually is the father of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, one of our six Goswami. So Tapan Mishra, from his childhood, he had one question in his mind. That is Sadhya and Sadhan. Sadhan means the process and Sadhya means goal. What is the ultimate goal of human life and how we can attain that goal. So from his childhood, he had this doubt in his mind. He had this question in his mind. So whomever he met, he always asked this question: can you tell me what is the sadhya and what is sadhan? But he was never satisfied with anyone's answer. So as usual, when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he got attracted to Mahaprabhu and he asked the same question: my dear Lord, can you tell me what is sadhya and sadhan? So Mahaprabhu briefly described a little bit, but Mahaprabhu says, I am busy at this moment. You come to Varanasi. I will explain you in details what is sadhya and sadhan. See, that is long back Mahaprabhu before taking sannyas. That time Mahaprabhu, he didn't even have planned to take sannyas, what to speak of going to Jagannath Puri, what to speak of going to Varanasi. But he had firm faith in the word of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, if I go to Varanasi, when Varanasi is full of impersonalist, nobody was there. But he had firm faith with the baggage, everything, with children, his wife. He left for Varanasi. That is called firm faith in the word of his spiritual master and Krishna. He left and he don't know whether Mahaprabhu will ever come to Varanasi or not. After many, many years, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he took sannyas, he went to Jagannath Puri. While going to Vrindavan, on the way, he stopped in Varanasi. And that time Tapan Mishra said, Mahaprabhu, you told me many years back, I will get my answer if I come to Varanasi. So that is called Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hai. So we should have that firm faith in the word of Krishna. So that's why it's very important. So the second one, it says, the misapprehension or correct apprehension, the correct understanding and wrong understanding. Prabhupada explained in the second paragraph of the Purport. He says it's actually, Prabhupada says in Sanskrit, it's a vipariyasya and nishchaya. The correct understanding and wrong understanding is what? When you understand we are not this body, but actually we are soul. That is correct understanding. And wrong understanding means opposite, is vipariyasya. Means we are body, we are not the soul. So in Bhagavatam it says, Deha Patya Kalatradishu Atma Sanneshu Asatsu Api Tisham Pramatta Nidanam Pashyan Api Na Pashyati. It says, those who are extremely attached to Deha Patya Kalatra, the body and the people connected to their body. So they don't see Pashyan Api Na Pashyati. They can't see their upcoming death, these people, and they're extremely attached, Or even Prahlad Maharaj says, it says, Matirana Krishna Paratu Satava Mitho Abhipatyat Grihavratanam. So those who are extremely attached to their body and family, they call it Grihavrat. Like Prabhupada once he was explaining, he says, just like we have Ekadashi Vrat, we have Janmashtami Vrat, we have Radhashtami Vrat. Similarly, some people they observe Griha Vrat. Griha Vrat means no matter whatever happens, I will maintain my attachment for my family and children's relatives. That is called Griha Vrat. Prabhupada says. So these people, because of the Griha Vrat, what happens? Adanto Gobir Vishadam Tamishya Puna Punash Charvita Charvananam. So their senses remains always uncontrolled. And Puna Punash Charvita Sarvananam. They what they are doing? They are chewing the chewed items. That's the same thing, So because of their bodily concept, So this body, we have to understand, material world is meant for suffering, and especially this body is the instrument to get those sufferings. So those who always think I am this body, I can enjoy this body, actually we can't enjoy. you take any tiny part of this body, just one, this is small finger. How many ways you can give pain to this finger? How many ways? You can pinch it, you can break it, cut it, burn it, huh? Fight it. You can sometimes put inside the door, and you can press it. So many ways. If you just 1 hour, we can discuss about this. How many ways you can give pain to this, this tiny finger? Now just consider how many ways you can give pleasure to this finger. We're checking maybe this. So not so many ways. So just think about this is one insignificant part of the body. What to speak of this whole body? This body is meant for suffering. Because this world is meant for suffering, this body is the instrument to get the suffering, So therefore, the real understanding is actually we are not this body, we are soul. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Deha smriti nahi jar bhavabandan kahatar. So once you are beyond this concept of body, that means, no bhavabandan, no entanglement in this material world, Otherwise, Lord Rishabdev says, Janasya mohaya maham mameti, Atha griha kshetra sutavta vittir janasya mohaya maham mameti. So he says, in this way, people, because of their bodily attachments, they develop this one concept in their life, that is aham mameti, I and mine, that's it. And nowadays, because people are too much attached to their body and something related to body, everyone have this I and my concept. And if you want to, it says, if you want to become successful in any business, you just use I and my word, iPhone, eyeball, iPad, make my trip, my bus, my app, my ball, I and my. You just use these two words, your business will become successful. Because everyone have this concept, I and mine. And they should be thankful to Rishabdev, They got this idea from Rishabdev, He says, aham mameti in Sanskrit. So why? He says, pumsham istriya mithuni bhavam etat. Because of their attachment. So, therefore, that is, in this verse, Lord Kapildev is saying that, nishya and vipariyasa. So, nishya means, to know that I am not this body, I am actually soul. And then vipariyasa. Vipariyasa means, opposite. That to consider oneself as body. So, and then last point he says, so what time you finish? Sure. So, and the last point, here Lord Kapildev, he says, this, he says, Smritir eva and Swapa. These two, what is it? Smriti and Swapa. Smriti means memory, and Swapa means slip. That's a Prabhupada explained last paragraph. This is Smriti, memory, and Swapa means slip. So memory is Smriti in Bhagavad Gita in 15th chapter. Krishna spoke about this. Matte smritir jnanam apahanam cha. This smriti, jnanam, apahanam cha. These three comes from Krishna. The memory, remembrance and forgetfulness. These three comes from me. So Krishna says in 15th chapter. So memory comes from Krishna, isn't it? So one who is worshipping Krishna, they are considered to be sumedhasam in Bhagavatam says, especially those who are worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the holy name of the Lord. Yajantihi sumedhasa. They are extremely intelligent people, because they know everything. So their memory become very sharp, because they know Krishna, they are worshipping Krishna. Like someone challenged Prabhupada, Swamiji, you just studied in India, and he went to America, he was challenging these Nobel laureates and PhD scholars. How can you challenge these PhD scholars, scientists and everyone? Prabhupada says, I may not be PhD, but Krishna is the father of PhD. So I know Krishna, I know everything. So devotees, they have knowledge of everything, isn't it? See, and can anyone in this material world, they ask this question, any devotee in ISKCON, you go anywhere, any program, you go all over the world. After the class, they say, does anybody have any question? Can Albany's Prime Minister, he can ask this question? Can any president, to the reporter ask this question? Anybody has any question? No, only ISKCON devotees can ask this question. Because we know that we have answer of everything because we know Krishna. The Prabhupada was so powerful. Why? Because he knows Krishna. Prabhupada once said, no one can defeat me, I am a Calcutta boy. So, because their memory is very powerful. Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. So, Krishna gives special intelligence to his devotees, especially those who are worshipping priti purvakam. With loving, those who are executing loving devotional service, Krishna gives special intelligence to them. So, these verses saying smriti, this smriti comes, like, you have example of this. Keshav Kashmiri in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's person. Keshav Kashmiri came, he was the greatest scholar at that time. So he defeated everyone, all the scholars in India. After defeating, he got to know there is another Pandit, a scholar in Navadvip, young Pandit, his name is Nimai. So he came to Navadvip to defeat Nimai. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very humble. He says, no, actually, you are already scholar, I am nothing in front of you. But then he wanted to, he said, no, I can't accept you. You have to argue with me, and then you have to give me certificate. Then I will understand that I have defeated you. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you tell something. Say we are standing on the bank of Ganga. You just narrate something in glorification of Ganga. So Keshav Kashmiri was such a great scholar. In a minute he composed new verses. It's not he recited from scriptures. 100 new shlokas he composed immediately in glorification of Ganga, river Ganga. And he says, he narrated, recited those verses in the force of wind, such a speedy. Then after that, he asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, did you understand anything? Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu picked one verse from there, Bhavani Bhartur, Mahattam Gangaya. And Keshav Kashmiri was so shocked. I narrated all these verses in the kind of, speed of wind. How did you find this verse? And you were saying this verse is some mistake also. Then Mahaprabhu told one thing. He says about this memory. He says, just like by the mercy of Supreme Lord, one can become, he says, Pandit. One can become, expert in composing. Similarly, by the mercy of that Supreme Lord, one can have sharp memory to remember everything. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Keshav Kashmiri. So then, he understood his mistake, Keshav Kashmiri, and that's how Mahaprabhu defeated Keshav Kashmiri, So, therefore, memory comes from Krishna. But memory, the smriti, especially when he says, smriti dhriti, another verse Krishna says, in Bhagavad Gita. So he says, smriti evacha. The smriti is kind of, the memory or remembrance. This smriti or remembrance, we want and we should have remembrance of Krishna at the time of difficulties. But at the time of difficulties, when we are attacked by Maya, that time, no smriti comes. So he knows all this knowledge and everything about the scriptures, about Krishna consciousness philosophy. But when difficulties comes, then no smriti works, isn't it? But this memory still is good, like this Gajendra first times, because he memorized many verses, Purusha Sukta prayers, by which he was offering prayers to Lord Vishnu in his previous birth as King Indradumna. So next life, when this Gajendra elephant was attacked by crocodile, he tried to save himself, protect himself, by his bodily strength. He could not help himself, his family members, relatives, no one could help himself. But what happened? That he remembered one verse he recited to Lord Vishnu in his previous birth. So therefore, he offered that lotus flower. So that's how memory works. So the last part, Srila Prabhupada spoke about, swapa. So swapa, the last characteristics of intelligence is swapa. Swapa means sleep. So Prabhupada appreciated, sleep is also necessary to keep the intelligence in working order. We should be very happy, by listening this. But, Prabhupada says oversleeping is not good, So Prabhupada, if there is no sleep, the brain cannot work nicely, So Prabhupada actually said, two things, the eating, we should take prasad and we should take sufficient rest. Why? So that we can serve Krishna next day properly, But now problem is, we after taking prasad, we fall in sleep. Prabhupada said we should take prasad so that we can get strength. Our strength goes after taking prasad, Because we don't take prasad with proper understanding. Because prasad Shei Annamrita power Radha Krishna Gunam. Krishna gave this prasada to conquer our senses, But we became victim of our senses because we are not taking prasadam in right sense, with proper understanding. So that's why it says, Prabhupada says sleeping is very important so that, we can serve Krishna properly, Like Srila Prabhupada, if you see Srila Prabhupada daily schedule, like 6 Goswamis say, Nidra Hara Bihara Kadi Vijito Chattanta Dhino Chajo. Bande Rupa Sanatana Rokhojoga Srijiva Gopalago. So they conquered everything. They sleep, nidra, ahar, eating, bihar, their recreation, everything. That's what they became yogi. So Prabhupada, if you see the Prabhupada's daily schedule, 1:30 a.m. Srila Prabhupada, he would wake up midnight and Srila Prabhupada would translate his books. 1:30 a.m. Almost every day he was following the same. And then, he was translating books till 3 morning, 3 a.m. and 3 to 5 a.m. he was chanting his rounds. And then 5:30 he would go for morning walk, and then almost 2 miles, 1.5 hours. Sometime he was, having interview and other discussions. And then 7 in the morning, he was having morning program, temple morning program, breakfast. And then he was after 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock during the morning day, he was basically dealing with some managerial issues of ISKCON. And then 11:30, Srila Prabhupada would take masses from his disciples, and then he would take bath. And 1 o'clock, Srila Prabhupada would take lunch, 2 o'clock rest, and 4 o'clock again some little juice and fruits. And 5 o'clock until evening, Prabhupada was busy with programs, kirtan and talk, And then again, Prabhupada used to go to take rest, If you see the Bhaktivinoda Thakur's daily routine, he was also following same thing, So these 6 Goswamis, they conquered sleep, nidra, ahara, vihara, kadi, vijita. Prabhupada says, 5 to 6 hours sleep is sufficient, So one should not, eat more or sleep more, So in Bhagavad Gita, therefore it says, yukta hara viharasya yukta chistasya babodasya. So he says, Arjun, who can become a yogi? Who can become a yogi? One who has control his, all these habits. So Prabhupada translated is like regulate the habit of sleeping, eating, recreation, everything. Just like we have regulator in fan. So you can, you can increase or you can decrease also. But for our sleeping and eating, no regulator, no regulator. So we should have a regulator for everything. Then he says, one can become a yogi, otherwise rogi. If you're not yogi, if you're not yogi, then you have to become rogi. We are rogi, where we have a lot of diseases because we are not yogi, we are following it. So it says, Rupa Goswami in Updeshamrita, he says, Atyahara. Atyahara is 6, the Atyahara, Prayas, Prajalpa, Niyamagraha. These are, this destroys our bhakti, the Atyahara. So Atyahara means, to accept something more than necessary. Or to accept something more than necessary is in regard to sleeping, eating, collecting money, everything. That is Atyahara. Atyahara is not only ahar, eating. Atyahara means everything, Like, one shouldn't accumulate anything more than necessary. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's servant, Govinda, one day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after taking lunch, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was, feeling little indigestion. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Govinda, do you have anything? So Govinda brought one haritaki, like triphala, it comes,